Welcome back to BGP Lifestyle, guys. I hope you're having a great day. If you're new here, make sure you click the subscribe button down below right now to be notified when new videos go live. New videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. here on the channel. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the Tazer, as you might have known by the title and the thumbnail. But today, I'm going to go through all the different features that you can do and actually show you guys what they can do. So there's two different ways that you'll be able to set them up, either with the car on run or the car actually started. So we'll go through the live features with the car running first, and then we'll switch back and show you guys what it looks like with the car just normal run without the engine running. So there's different features that you're going to be able to enable on each one. I'll try and enable some and maybe mess up my car just a little bit, so hopefully it doesn't mess it up. But I think like the SRT pages and stuff like that might be a little bit funky on the Jeep, or at least on my model of Jeep. So I'm going to go ahead and play with it and see what happens and see if I can get them to work, or maybe change some things up a little bit and show you guys some of the different features and just kind of go through them all, because there's some really good ones that you guys might like. So let's just switch the camera up, set up the tripod, and get this going right now. All right, so for these first modes, we're going to go ahead and put our foot on the brake and actually start the car just like that, and then we'll head into the menu. So now if you don't know how to enter into your Tazer once it's married or once it's fully connected and everything, what you're going to want to do is go into your menu here on the dash and click down until you get to the audio panel, which looks something like this one, and it'll say music muted or whatever song, all that kind of good stuff. So what you're going to want to do is press the left arrow here as well as the cancel button on your cruise control at the same time, and that'll enter your Tazer modes, and then we can enter the screens and see what we have to work with. All right, so our first option when the car is actually started is going to be our light shows, which if you haven't seen that video, check it out up above on the screen now, where I went over all the different light show modes and showed all of them in the video so you guys could see all the different light show modes. But we're going to skip that one since I already have a full video on that. And then when we press the left arrow and the cancel button, you see radio RB5. So then if you press the cruise control button, that'll enter that menu. All right, so I'm pretty sure these radio options are just gonna be for you to enable extra video inputs into your actual Uconnect or like dash kind of setup, so you can add extra cameras for front cameras, back cameras, stuff like that. So I'm not gonna mess with that because I don't have any of that. So if I go to the next one, it's gonna be dark mode. So if I enter that by pressing the left arrow and cruise control, that is gonna completely turn off all the lights on the exterior of the vehicle. Which is funny because with the LED lights and stuff that I have, you'll actually hear it happen. But it's really helpful if you want to park somewhere at night and keep your car running and keep the lights on, whether you're at like a drive-in or something like that, then it works really well. So I'm not sure what this one is. I think it's a third brake light setting that will enable it to basically flash when you hit it. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's your third brake light. So when you press your brake down, the third brake light will flash. I'm not a fan of that personally, but there's a couple different modes in here. You can go fast, medium, I believe slow, and then off, which is what I'm gonna have it on because I personally don't like it, but I believe that's what it is your third brake light, and it makes it flash. So now we also have this here, which is gonna be in-motion navigation on. So that's gonna be for your Uconnect, so you can have in-motion navigation, obviously. Pretty straightforward and simple with that one. Engine auto, so this is where you're able to change the engine modes if you want to have like the engine in sport mode all the time or different things like that. There's also going to be one for the transmission, which again, trans auto is obviously going to be the auto, just the standard. And then you obviously have your other options that you can switch it to, where you can make it sport mode or different things like that. Depending on your vehicle, you might be able to activate track mode and stuff like that if you have like a Scat Pack or a Charger or something like that that has track mode. And then your power mode, which is again the same thing. You'll have the same kind of options of sport and stuff like that. So those are good if you want your engine and stuff to be in sport mode, but you don't want your transmission to be in sport mode because it can be a little bit choppy and jumpy. So you can go ahead and switch that there. Now this is where you can enable auto sport mode. So this means that little button on your dash will automatically get turned on when you go ahead and turn on the vehicle, so that you don't have to press the button if you like to drive in sport mode 24/7, which I personally don't because I feel like it doesn't feel good at parking lots and stuff, but you can just go ahead and keep that on for you. So then you have track kill off, which is going to disable your traction control at startup automatically, similar to turning on the sport mode or pressing the traction control off button. Now this next one, the SS kill on, as you can see, it's on for me because I have that enabled. That's going to disable the start stop. So instead of getting the start stop eliminator, if you're going to get a Tazer anyway, just go ahead and use this. That'll disable the start stop by just simply basically pressing the button for you when you turn on the vehicle every time, so you don't have to go ahead and worry about pressing the button. I personally really like that. It's probably one of my favorite features of the actual Tazer. So I think this option was set to track mode for some reason, which doesn't even make sense, which would be your standard drive mode, where it will just automatically set it in that mode. So I guess it's on track. I don't really know. I don't think that affects anything on my Jeep because personally, like, my Jeep doesn't have a track mode. It's not an SRT or anything fast like that. So with just having the altitude, I don't think that affects anything on my actual settings. Now you got your video settings. So if you go into these are more in-depth. So this can allow you to change your screen. So when I just did that, it turned on my rear camera. And then if I click again, I believe it'll go to a camera front, where this would be if you had a second line input set up and plugged in, then you would be able to see your front camera on the screen. So now if you have the auto folding mirrors, you can have those on or off through this setting. Mine are manual fold, so affecting that is not going to change anything. So this one says that it's going to display the actual peak recorded shift RPM at every shift, rather than, I guess, where it says it's shifting or where it's supposed to shift on the cluster. I guess it's supposed to show you the actual spot that it shifts at. Again, I don't mess with that. It's not something that I really care about. Now this one, all-wheel drive normal, if you go ahead and enter that, you should be able to change it between like rear-wheel drive to forced rear-wheel drive, or alternatively just have it in all-wheel drive. This will obviously only be on all-wheel drive vehicles like mine, which has the active all-wheel drive 4x4 system. Now we got our 0 to 30 time, so basically you would just set it to this, start rolling, and it'll tell you to go to 30, and it'll calculate your 0 to 30 time, as well as 0 to 60 here on the next screen. And then it's just going to go into your Tazer model, and then the rest is just going to be some unmarried keys and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and switch, turn the vehicle off, and put it just into normal run mode rather than hitting these live options. So now for this menu, you're just going to go ahead and tap this twice to put it into run mode without the vehicle actually being started. So no foot on the brake to not actually start the vehicle, and this will give you access to more of the modes. So now again, we're going to do the same thing to get in, and you'll see the light show option is there once again. We're going to skip over that. Now the DTC spot here is going to display diagnostic trouble codes. So if you have a check engine light, this can give you your codes. It should work. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be as good as a code reader, but it should work and give you your codes. I don't have a check engine light. Obviously I do there, but it's not actually on. Next one is going to let you clear check engine lights, which is kind of an interesting feature for the Tazer to have, in my opinion. A lot of code readers and stuff will let you do that, but that's going to allow you to just clear those check engine lights. So this unmarried feature right here is just going to be that quick reset to factory settings for your vehicle. If you have to bring it into a dealer or something like that, this can go ahead and get it right back to factory or back to stock for you without any issues. So a lot of these options on the Jeep aren't really going to do too much, like the SRT set. It's not going to affect anything. You can't really enable them on the Jeep apparently, so if I were to do this, it's not going to change anything. You'll see it does that and brings you to here, and then basically it's going to act all funky for me because it doesn't actually have those to enable. So if I want to turn those back off because they're not going to work, it'll fix itself back to that. But if I were in a Charger or something like I'm going to get eventually, then I should be able to enable some pretty cool stuff, which I'll show you guys in the future once I get the Daytona 392. Eventually, maybe, if I actually get it. And then the performance set here, again, which is very similar. And that's going to be to enable the SRT performance pages on 8.4-inch radio screens. But I believe it only works between the 2012 and 2014 Charger, so you're not really getting anything in the Jeep. Now this would be your Super Track Pack mode, which again, in the Jeep is not even a thing, so can't even mess with it. Paddles, yes, obviously I have the paddle shifters installed aftermarket, so if you do want to install those after, you do have to enable it with the Tazer. Now this is to enable different Scat Pack / SRT steering modes. Again, don't have any of those options. It's kind of unfortunate, but a lot of these things do not work on the Jeeps, or at least on my vehicle. So I'm going to skip through these ones because a lot of these are only for that. So now this is your eco mode, yes, so you can enable eco mode or yes or no. Now you got your tire settings where you can go in and change your tires. So this is going to be your TPMS sensor, so if you need to go ahead and mess with those, you can disable tire pressure monitoring system warnings and stuff like that, and make it a little bit easier. And then here you can change your tire pressures so that the speedometer is actually a little bit more accurate if you're going with bigger wheels and tires. You can go ahead and change these. I haven't really changed them, so I don't know what it really does exactly or how it's going to affect it. I'm just going to keep it as is because it's not something I really care about. But if you guys do have bigger wheels and tires and you care about getting that speedometer exact, then you can go ahead and just change that. Now if we go into this is going to be your lighting section. You got your daytime running light type. You can go ahead and change your location for your low beam or whichever one you want your daytime running light to be. And you can mess with that, your tow lights, fog lights enable. So if you install aftermarket fog lights and you don't already have fog lights, or you install the OEM ones and you didn't already have them, you can go ahead and enable them in there. And then in our comfort section in here, you got your splash screen. So if I go ahead and mess with this, you can do the splash screen Hellcat. I'm not sure what it actually does on my vehicle or if that's even going to work. So let me just go ahead and hard reset it and see if that messes with anything or if it actually works. So to do a restart after, you just do a full reboot here and it'll go through the process. It's kind of weird and a little bit annoying. It takes about 150 seconds as it says there, and it'll count down and do all kinds of weird stuff, turning things on, turning things off, but just give it a little bit of time, let it do its thing, and it'll restart and you'll be good to go. So once that's done rebooting, it doesn't look like I got any special splash screen. So if I go ahead and turn off the vehicle here and then start it up, you can see it's still just the same normal Grand Cherokee splash screen for me. Nothing really changes on that, which is, like I said, a lot of this stuff's not going to work on here. A lot of this is going to work on the Chargers and the Challengers, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and put it back into run mode. So now this is where you can enable the remote windows. So that means you can put the windows down with the key fob. I showed that in another video. If you haven't seen that, I'll have it pop up on the screen now and you guys can check that one out. This is your seatbelt ding. So if you don't want it to ding and chime when you don't have your seatbelt on, then you can go ahead and turn that off if you're one of those reckless people that drive without a seatbelt. I don't recommend it, but you can do it there. So then this is your easy exit setting, which I believe is just how the steering wheel moves up and then the seat moves back. So you get some room to get out easier. And then when you get in and start it, it kind of pushes the seat back to the memory setting. I don't have the memory seats or anything like that, so this isn't going to affect anything on my model. And then you have your mirrors where you can enable different things like the power folding mirrors. You can enable or disable the turn signals on the Grand Cherokee. If you have tow mirrors, you can enable or disable some tow mirrors, and as well as approach mirrors. And then again, it's just going to go back into the Tazer settings. And yeah, that's pretty much all that the Tazer has for you to offer. Unfortunately, with the Jeep, it is so limited as far as what you can do. It does have a lot of good features. I really like the light shows and the blackout mode and stuff. It's really good, but there's a lot of stuff in there that you just can't access or do anything with. But once I get that Daytona Charger, I'll be sure to make a ton of videos going over the features with that, because there's going to be so much cool stuff that I can actually do. So yeah, guys, hopefully that showed you guys all the different Tazer features and what you guys can get if you want to get one of these. If you do want to get one of these, click the top link down in the description to bring you to the eBay link or wherever it is, so you guys can go ahead and get yourself a Tazer just like this one. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure you do smash that like button down below. Help the YouTube algorithm, help this video get out to more people, and of course help the channel grow. On that same note, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you click the subscribe button down below right now to be notified when new videos go live. New videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. here on the channel. Of course, check out Shop Lifestyle, get yourself some lifestyle merch. But thanks for watching, guys. Peace. I feel like I am losing